Update. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex, despite her having cancer as a teenager? Original story. My 25 female father married my stepsister's 23 female mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives at our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She since made a full recovery. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so I could get a job. The money went towards her medical bills, and so I could drive her to appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly, the exception being having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that, but was swiftly punished. And I think having one emotional breakdown was pretty chill given the circumstances. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex. We'll call him Ben, when I'm a junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah. He and I moved in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him being intimate with my sister. I broke it off. Tears were shed, he moved out, etc. My sister apologized at first, but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love, and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmo'd me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house, telling me how disappointed in me they are for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in parts because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of the time she was sick together, that would also mean I should have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter, and they should understand my point of view, but they are adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. For the record, I'm not jealous of her. I'm not upset that Ben picked her over me. I'm sad about the end of the relationship and do feel betrayed, but Lord knows that I don't want to be with a cheater. What I'm upset about is the fact that my sister chose Ben over me. That she slept with Ben knowing he and I were in a long-term committed relationship, and continues to be with him knowing how much it hurts me. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me, and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm an a-hole and a selfish witch. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Not an a-hole. Your parents are enablers. Cancer as a teen did not shrink-wrap her and isolate her from the entirety of human morality and values, forever and ever amen. From what you describe, it sounds disturbingly like you have been deemed the canon father of the family. Take some time for yourself, and put them on the back burner. Is it just cancer or any potential life-threatening disease that gives an exemption? I really need to know because I might have behaved unnecessarily for many years. I had cancer as a teenager. I've managed to not sleep with either of my siblings' partners, weirdly enough. Maybe you were on a different treatment plan. Not a a-hole. Having cancer as a teenager is not a valid excuse to be an awful person for the rest of your life. No, but Opie's sister and her parents will use it as an excuse ad nauseum. Oh, heck no. Your sister is using an illness she had a decade ago as an excuse to sleep with your boyfriend and have that be okay. It's not. The fact your parents are going along with this smacks of having a golden child. I'm sorry to say that sometimes the trash takes itself out. Your sister is awful. Your parents are and were awful. It was not your job to quit every activity to pay your sister's medical bills and drive her around. It's good that you know this now, and can get some therapy and move on with your life. You deserve better people in your corner, and they're out there waiting for you. Edit. I've been given a lot of food for thought. To be honest, while I've had moments where I've been resentful or upset about my teenage years, I've always thought that I did the right thing for my sister and for my family. And that time wasn't all miserable. I was very close to my sister and we made things as fun as we could. But I didn't think of it as an abdication of my parents' responsibilities, or that they were doing wrong by me, which many of you pointed out. I definitely have a lot to think about. Thank you again for making me feel less crazy about all of this. Now for the first update. Sometimes you can only laugh. Just got off of the phone with my cousin who saw this post and said he could explain a few things. I asked him why he was in Reddit instead of school, He asked me why I was on Reddit instead of work, and I said to Shay. He told me that after my conversation with my mom, she went to his house and talked to my aunt. And here's the deal. Turns out my sister is not only in a relationship with Ben, but 4 months pregnant. Which means she and Ben were hooking up for longer than I had even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience of their first grandchild. That's right. I'm less important than my stepmom posting ultrasounds to Facebook. This is where we're at. Anyhow, I called out of work sick the rest of the day, and I'm going to drink a lot of alcohol. Like a lot of alcohol. And then start thinking about what on earth am I going to do. And now for the full update. I was asked for an update, and thus here I am. 2 things to clarify before I update. 1. I didn't have a horrible childhood. The favoritism started when my sister was diagnosed. I moved out soon after and have been pretty independent since then. Not saying that how my parents treated me during those years were okay, but I wasn't Cinderella. 2. I did not drink myself into oblivion. I had 2 white wine spitzers, but I appreciate the concern from folks. Anyhow, the update. I got in touch with my sister and asked her to meet up again at a park. No bill involved. I asked her if she was pregnant, and she told me the truth. She said she wanted us to still be in each other's lives and that she wanted me to be in her babies. A Redditor mentioned that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was correct. But as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd just become her bank and daycare employee. So I told her I could no longer be in her life. Then I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the crappiest person in the world. I emailed my parents and told them how betrayed I felt and that I'd be cutting off contact with them. To my stepmom's credit, she apologized. She explained that she never thought my sister would live to have kids, and that she let her emotion take over and get the better of her. Understandable. My dad said nothing, which is honestly what sucked the worst about all of this. Ben tried messaging me from a burner account for the first time since the breakup, but I blocked him without reading it. I didn't go nuclear and post the story to Facebook as some suggested, but I sent an email to the extended family members who I care about. I explained the situation and how I'd be distancing myself from my family. Some have made it an us versus them situation, and as much as I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm in some valiant battle just makes me more tired. So I haven't been talking to much of anyone in my family. I feel lonely and crappy, but I think I made a right decision. Anyhow, not the most exciting update in the world, but hopefully everyone knows that I'm not dead. I do really appreciate the support I've gotten. It made me smile during a really awful time. I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the crappiest person in the world. You aren't. You made the right decision. Sometimes people aren't good to be in your life, and you have to do things even if they are hard. Keep trying to live your best life. Yeah, the sister really did this to herself. It's mind-boggling to think that you can do something so cruel to someone and expect them to just brush it off with no consequence. I'm glad Opie's creating some distance here. There's no way the family wouldn't continue taking advantage of her. I feel so sorry for Opie considering her dad has shown his true favoritism. And now basically knows that she has lost her parents' support. I hope she gets through this and finds people that truly support her. Thank you for the update, Opie. Very sorry about your father's passivity. That's gotta feel like a betrayal, and you don't deserve that. What you deserve? Every happiness, lots of joy, and a community of dear friends. And lots of pie at Thanksgiving. You deserve to be treated with respect, Opie. And your steps to create distance and boundaries are admirable. You're not a-hole by any stretch of the imagination. I'm so sorry that you had to go through such a painful experience, but it shows a true depth of character that you're on the sub promoting positive discourse. I'm sorry things turned out this way, and that you aren't a priority to your parents. But seriously, does she not realize that A, you and Ben were still sleeping together during those months and he could have just been stringing her along? B, has she never been in a relationship? How would you feel if you had done that to her? C, she can always wonder now if Ben is cheating on her with someone else, but it would be karma. Ultimately, I hope your parents realize that you are just as important as she is, and their behavior is pretty awful. Good luck. A, according to her, neither wanted to hurt me by telling me, which, lol. B, she's had a few boyfriends, but they only lasted a month or 2. C, for her sake, I hope it doesn't. D, my stepmom told me that they'll welcome me back with open arms when I choose to come back. I'm just not sure that I'll come back as they won't be giving up on my sister. That's the fun part of giving up on them. I don't have to care anymore. You don't have to feel hurt or play games. You get to just be. That's what you will start to feel when this all normalizes. Just give it time. Find a new hobby or dust an old one off. Make something of your complete own that none of them were invited or included in. That will be your place of solitude, the rock that you set up shop on. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for making my ex move out? Hey everyone. I am 26 male and I recently broke up with my girlfriend, Lisa, of 2 years. Lisa had approached me telling me she wasn't happy in the relationship and wanted to work on it more, but nothing ever did seem good enough, and it began to feel like I was working all the time. On top of that, she was flirting with a classmate a lot, which made me feel uncomfortable, to be honest. The issue is, Lisa is in her last semester of college and broke. She doesn't work, her family isn't able to help, and the school she attends is already having a housing issue, so they can't help until the next semester, which is in late January. 2 weeks ago, I gave her the 30 days notice required, and she blew up. She thinks she can live on campus next semester, but asks that I allow her to have the extra room. But I really don't want that. The relationship is over, and I no longer feel responsible for her. But if she moves out, she will have to withdraw from her classes, which will push her graduation back, and she would lose all of the money paid. Am I the a-hole for telling her she has 2 weeks left and she needs to be gone? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Maybe your classmate she was flirting with can commit to helping her. This OP. Not your relationship, not your responsibility. This. Besides, it's not the worst thing taking an extra year. And if she really needs it, she can always take out a loan. Do not feel guilty or the one responsible here, OP. No a-holes here. When my ex and I broke up, I offered him the spare room to get his stuff together. Because even though we weren't together, I still cared about him and his well-being. I set some pretty hard boundaries with him. But if that's not where you're at, that's not where you're at. Would have agreed with us if she wasn't busy flirting with other people whilst in a relationship with OP. If you've lost feelings or you're feeling unhappy in a relationship, put an end to it. Don't go around emotionally cheating, especially when your other half works hard to pay the bills. This. Commenter on this thread is all, but ex is being demonized. Nah, if you're running around flirting with other people, go become their problem. OP has been carrying the financial burden while Lisa does nothing. It's Lisa's fault she couldn't keep it together another 3 months. Not today home. She's an adult and should fend for herself. You weren't responsible for her while the relationship was going on. You're sure as hell not now that it's over. I know too many people, myself included, who let their exes leech around off them after it's over because they feel guilty. It's not healthy for your mental health. She's gonna leech until she graduates. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to house sit for my brother on his honeymoon after he treated me horribly at his wedding? My brother got married in June, and he and his wife delayed their honeymoon to save money and recover from their wedding. Then he asked me a couple of days ago if I would house sit for them while they go on honeymoon. I told him hell no, and he had some nerve asking me after how I was treated at his wedding. The morning of the wedding, he had me run around to pick up his wedding cake. Didn't even give me the right place to go the first time, and I ended up running around in the rain going for a cake, and every once was I thanked. Actually, he and his wife complained at me for being late to the church. He actually canceled my room for his best friend who was coming from out of state without telling me, so when I went to grab my key, there was nothing there for me, and he kept the money I had paid. He booked our rooms for us and we gave him the money. They complained that I looked less put together than everyone else for the photos after the incident that morning. My hair got messed up, my makeup wasn't as professionally done as it has been, and I was put in the far corner for family photos to hide the fact. Adding to all that, he left me to pay the bar tabs as my contribution to the wedding, even though I had helped with wedding invites and table plans. I was the one who picked up their decorations from the place and brought them to the hotel and put them up. They needed somehow to show up and make sure they got what they wanted, on top of being sent for their cake at the last minute and getting crap for being late then when he gave me the wrong bakery first. Our parents took care of the tab and gave him so much crap for treating me the way he did. I was honest with them about the stuff they had said to me that day, and they were super pissed because I had already dedicated a lot of time to help them out. But now he's saying I'm being petty, and given we were good before the wedding, one day should not make me refuse to help him. Am I the a-hole? Like the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. You bent over backwards for your brother and sister-in-law, and they didn't show an ounce of gratitude. I don't know what it is about weddings that brings out one's inner a-hole, but these kind of stories makes me want to elope if I ever get married. It's rare we hear about a groomzilla. Your brother sounds like a piece of work, and I would have laughed at his face. Not today, Opie. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. I get that people want this perfect day. They want to feel like their day was magical. But how the hell is it magical when you treat the people you supposedly love like this? And the fact that he just doesn't care. I can't imagine treating my brother that way, especially if he was helping me. I always appreciate his help in the past. I just wish he could understand. I'm a college student who couldn't contribute money, so I contributed time. But on top of not appreciating that, he tried to stick me with a bill. Wanting your wedding to feel like a beautiful, special occasion doesn't make one an a-hole. Being rude, demanding, and cruel to those helping on said special day does. Weddings are about the joining of two lives, and by extension, two families. Your brother, however, missed this memo. He treated you as less than. He put expectations on you, and when things didn't go exactly as planned, he took it out on you. Instead of recognizing your efforts and being grateful, he treated you like something he stepped in. Opie, this speaks to your brother's character. Remember, you do not have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm.